Kakaji, everyone gets energy through the ego. So isn't knowing the ego is more important than knowing the instincts?
Through the instincts only one comes to know about the ego. So if you are familiar with the ego, then you are automatically familiar with the instincts.
You are saying that knowing the ego, you understand instincts. Knowing the instincts, you understand the ego. This is a mutual process. So for now, we'll try to understand one instinct, greed. Why are humans greedy?
By his very nature, man is dissatisfied with the arrangement that the Supreme Power has made for him. So he's always looking around for more and more, to be able to live a life that he thinks is better. And this endless array of desires is what we call greed or lobh.
What is the relation between lobh and moh?
Lobh and moh both are interconnected on a very, very subtle level. And because of moh, the thing that you are attached to or the person that you are attached to, when this feeling of acquiring that thing or having that person in your life intensifies to an extreme level, that very instinct is known as lobh.
Every person expresses himself through different instincts, which is the manifested or unmanifested form of the ego only. How does the ego gets expressed through greed or lobh?
Somebody wants to be known as a billionaire, somebody wants to be called a big shot lawyer, somebody wants to be known as a famous doctor, somebody wants to be remembered as a best-selling author, somebody wants to be known as a social worker with a big fame. This desire within to be known as a so and so, this is nothing but lobh.
How can greed move into a positive direction?
Lobh can move in a positive direction on the only condition that the destination of lobh is you yourself. If you have the greed within to attain yourself, this is the positive aspect of lobh, and it will achieve its goal for sure.
How can krodh or anger be beneficial in attaining oneself?
Krodh is also a huge energy, and to channelize it positively relies upon us. If something does not happen as per your wishes, then you feel anger. It is then and only then that you happen to take a vow to be able to know yourself, and you are not able to do so. At that time, the krodh or anger will be able to take you in a positive direction.
Kakaji, there is an instinct called matsar or envy. How can this instinct be helpful in attaining ourselves?
Something that you don't own but someone else does, you develop a feeling of jealousy towards it. You don't seem to like it at all. But this envy or jealousy, if can be diverted to your inner self, that why am I not attaining it and why am I not being stable within myself? What is the reason? What is the cause? When you meditate upon it like this positive aspect of jealousy can lead you to your inner self.
There is a subtle instinct called calm or lust. How can this be helpful in attaining our real form?
Calm or lust, as we call it, has always been considered a sin, and so this positive divine energy has never been understood correctly. This energy whose sheer purpose is to create and sustain this world around us, this sansar, it has never ever been understood correctly. The narrow-minded view of the people has made it appear like a sin in the society. The energy that has the power to create us all, how can it be bad at all, or a matter of criticism?
Kaka ji, I have read or heard somewhere in the scriptures of Sant Gyaneshwar Maharaj, which translates like this: an ant flew into the sky and swallowed the entire sun. What is the symbolic meaning of these words?
There is one very beautiful creation of Sant Gyaneshwar Maharaj ji. Sant Gyaneshwar Maharaj ji uses metaphors in his poetry in a very beautiful manner. And to be able to understand his words is an extremely elevating experience. Mungi urali akashi, tine gidale suryasi. This can be interpreted in English as: an ant takes a flight into the deep sky. Not only does it take a flight, but it is also able to swallow the entire sun. If one tries to comprehend these words literally, it appears as a big joke. But if someone tries to understand it and feel it metaphorically, then it would turn out to be an amazing spiritual experience. With the kind blessings of the Supreme Power and the Guru element, during the awakening of Kundalini, when the energy or Shakti awakens, it moves up from Mooladhara to Swadhisthana, from Swadhisthana to Manipur, from Manipur to Anahata Chakra, from Anahata Chakra to Vishuddha Chakra, from Vishuddha Chakra to Agya Chakra. In this order, it moves upwards. And beyond that, from Agya Chakra up to Sahasradal Chakra, this entire spiritual journey, possible only with the blessings of the Guru, progresses in a very subtle manner. In Bhagavad Gita, there is a beautiful shlok: Akhatadi trekhapade sahasradala mandale hamasa parshva trikone cha smare nityam madhyam guru. When Mata Tripura Sundari, Shakti Swarupa Kundali Mahadevi, with the blessings of the Supreme Power and the Guru element, awakens in the sadhak, and then the inner journey of the seeker begins. And this inner journey then transforms beyond the Agya Chakra into the ultimate journey of enlightenment. In this journey, crossing so many places that we know from the Tantra tradition, Mata Tripura Sundari merges herself deep within her own Shiv-like form. And when one experiences the feeling of Advait or oneness, just close to that is the experience of Asamprada Samadhi. In this experience, one feels that the bright big sun present up there in the deep sky gets swallowed up by this symbolic hand, the Kundalini Shakti. So in the metaphor of this ultimate experience, one is able to consume that bright divine light, becoming the Shakti oneself, surrenders oneself unconditionally before Matripura Sundari and feels completely in harmony with that infinite ultimate energy source, the feeling of oneness, the feeling of being a part of the great ultimate infinite. And then that feeling is indescribable, that experience is indescribable. One becomes centered in it, and the bliss or the anand of that state, the seekers who have experienced that state, they just use these words and the poetry and the metaphors to describe and to express their gratitude, the ultimate bliss or the Nityanand. They express this before the common sadhaks, the common seekers or the bhaktas, the devotees of the Supreme Power, and convince them all to believe that if we can achieve this, then you are also entitled by birth to achieve this and to feel this. By portraying their own rights and by invoking the rights of the others, the seekers, they try to invite you all in that blissful state, and for you to be centered in that blissful state, they become a help also and they shower their blessings also.
Which Chidakash is referred to here?
Chidakash is different from the common sky.
What is the difference?
You can come to know of it only when you have felt it. Comparative description is not going to be of any use. In this Chidakash, we have billions of universes merged. Such huge is this Chidakash. The Akash that you can see with your eyes is the Sthula Akash.
What is the technique of knowing and feeling that Chidakash?
For that you need the blessings, because only then you can be capable of entering into that Chidakash.
Please elaborate on this. Which body is the medium of entering into Chidakash? Or through which body can one enter into the Chidakash? Sukshma, Karan, Mahakaran. Which body?
It is only this Jhani, or as we call it Janib, the process of knowing oneself. Only this process can make you be capable of touching and entering that Chidakash, that state of ultimate and infinite bliss. This is what is Chitti Swarupa. This is what Sant Gyaneshwar Maharaj calls as Sad Chitmay Lima. It is only through this that one can enter that Chidakash. One is able to travel in that Chidakash. One can just roam around there.
This reference of the experience of the Chidakash in the Indian context, is it same across all methodologies? Or is terminology different?
Chidakash is not just an imaginary concept in the Indian spirituality. Rather, Chidakash is the ultimate reality. And around the world, all the religions, their followers, their sadhaks, the seekers, the devotees have experienced this reality.
On which level of the intellect do we experience Chidakash? Please elaborate a little on this. Which is that level where we experience Chidakash?
You are sheer consciousness, and in this form only you enter the Chidakash. Chidakash is also nothing but sheer consciousness. As you will notice this, that if you take off in an aircraft or aeroplane from the surface of the earth, then after about 25 or 30 kilometers, you find yourself in a deep darkness, and there only that deep darkness is visible, nothing else. The one that can illuminate even that darkness is your ultimate form or the supreme power. In the same way, when you enter into that Chidakash, you cannot feel anything else except your own consciousness. That Chidakash is just full of the consciousness. Only that can be experienced. And the one who is experiencing it is merging deep into it, becomes one with the infinite, ultimate, real universe around.
Then, along with the intellect, why do we use adjectives like inferior and superior?
When you try to experience something through the medium of your body, then your understanding is just on the physical level. On the other side, when you try to understand and see things on a universal level rather than a physical level, then your understanding transcends from individual to universal level. On both levels, understanding is there, but on one level, it is merely in a physical mind, on the other, it is in a universal mind. When the physical mind drops away, it merges into the universal mind.
Kaka ji, when the association with the physical body breaks off, what actually happens?
The meaning of the physical body dropping away is that your experiencing has now risen up from a mere physical level to a universal level.
Till the time one experiences it, one will be associated with the physical body?
Of course, it will be there. And even after that also, this physical mind, this illusionary physical mind will be required to have a smooth going in the world around you. If you lose awareness of the fact that you have a physical body, then the body cannot exist any longer because it needs food, it needs water. And as long as you have to exist in this world, you have to exist within this body only. This is the reason why the people who have achieved themselves through this body only, they conserve it and pay a lot of respect to this medium of theirs.
One more thing. During sleep also, one experiences the feeling of the body, and in samadhi also, one experiences the same. What is the difference between the two?
As long as you're ignorant, you identify yourself with this physical mind in the state of sleeping. So when somebody calls your name, you suddenly wake up with a jerk or a rush. But if this physical mind is not there, you won't feel the need to do this at all. If someone addresses you with your name, you suddenly wake up from the sleep and ask, yeah, what is it? What happened? So even in the state of sleep, you are still identified with the physical mind. Whereas in the state of samadhi, you are able to experience with your senses that supreme consciousness with entire totality. In that state of mind, you are no longer sleeping, you are fully awake. Awakened sleep is samadhi, whereas sleeping awakeness is the world.
The absence of darkness is light, and the absence of light is darkness. Then, samadhi and the feeling of being in the body. How can one feel these two diametrically opposite experiences together?
In the physical mind, your intelligence and your senses work. And when you have moved beyond the physical mind, even then, the intelligence and senses are activated. They are needed to maintain the body. You need to have this illusion of the physical mind. It is like this, that you are working for an organization, then if for some time you go on a leave, the company still pays you for that leave period. This is because you are an employee of that organization. You are just away from the organization for a few days. You haven't still left the organization or submitted your resignation. That's why all your rights remain intact, to avail the leave benefits, to avail the leaves, to fight for increment if you haven't been given one, to ask for a due promotion. In all these circumstances, you can exercise your rights because you are still a part of the organization. But if you are not associated with it, then you are not entitled to demand any of these. Till you are associated with your body, all the situations, all the conditions that are favorable for the smooth functioning of this body, you are completely entitled to demand all of them. The medium through which you are expressing yourself, complete respect of that medium is a requisite, is a must. Even if we ask for a glass of water from someone, we express our gratitude. So this medium through which we are expressing ourselves, the medium through which we are getting stabilized in our own form, merging and blending in that supreme power, you can understand the level of respect that this medium deserves. Sant Tukharam Maharaj has said somewhere, such is the glory of this medium of ours. He says, just by collective prayers our body becomes cosmified. It is not a lifeless thing. With the help of our chanting and our collective prayers, we have been able to cosmify our body. And this is the reason why in his last stage, he went to heaven along with his body.
What is the cause of this feeling of being in the body? Mind, intellect, consciousness, or the ego?
The body does not have an existence of its own, so it does not take long to decay. The body is expressed through the faculties of mind, intellect, and consciousness. For those who have gone insane, these three elements are no longer active in them. That is why they are called insane, but their body still exists. That is why they have no longer any control on their own bodies.
Awakening, dreaming, sleeping, or the fourth stage of consciousness, turiya. The consciousness which is there in all these four stages, is it the same or different?
Through the consciousness only you feel yourself being awake, dreaming, sleeping, or just being. In these three states, the feeling of being present remains intact. While awake, mind, intellect, consciousness, ego, along with the senses and the body remain active. In the state of dreaming, all your five perceptory senses remain active along with mind, intellect, consciousness, and ego. In sleeping stage, your mind, intellect, and consciousness remain inactive. And that's how you experience the sleep. And in meditative state, you experience pure consciousness. Then, the state which is parallel to all these three states of mind, meditative state is the main state through which all the other three states are known and experienced.
During meditation, are we awake or asleep? What is the way to know about this?
While doing meditation, you are alert, you are awake. Your consciousness is what gives you this feeling. Only your consciousness keeps track of this feeling. Mind, intellect, and consciousness in harmony. If while aware is samadhi, if while sleeping is the state of sleeping.
How can we know this?
You come to know of it yourself. If it happens when you are unaware, then you go into sleep and you lose track of the time, and you also lose all track of where you are. And if mind and intellect are in harmony, while you are fully aware, you are experiencing samadhi. In that awakened state, you go on experiencing consciousness and ultimate bliss for as long as you are there in that state. It is such an illuminated and indescribable state that you just cannot compare it to any other thing that you know, even if you want to.
Then what is the significance of time and place in samadhi?
There is another meaning of samadhi that you don't know. It is beyond time, it is beyond any place, and it is even beyond the space. But there you are fully conscious. In the state of sleeping also, you go beyond time, you go beyond place, and even the experience of being beyond space is there. But there is no consciousness at all. And so in the state of samadhi, you experience your mind, your intellect, your consciousness, your ego, all of this while you are fully awake. And when this happens, all your morals narrow down and completely merge and blend into your consciousness. And this is asamprajna samadhi.
Kakaji, please clarify this. What is mukti or nirvana?
You are neither the body, you are neither the mind, you are not the intellect, not even the consciousness, nor are you the ego. When you come across this distinct experience and are stabilized in that experience, the experience becomes your second nature. That moment you achieve nirvana. This is what saints and scriptures say.
Then what is life?
Life is a continuous flow of sheer consciousness, whereas your mind, intellect, and consciousness feel it in parts, and you assume that these parts are what is your life, whereas in reality it is continuous. The journey from birth to death is not life. The journey that was before the birth is when you are alive and is still there when you are gone. That is life.
Just now you told about what is nirvana, you told what is life. One question arises. What is the meaning of Jivan Mukt Mahapurush?
Those who are not required to be born again and again, who do not have to live an ignorant life while they are here, such great men are called Jivan Mukt Mahapurush. Anyone who is getting born, the only reason for this is ignorance. When you are taking on a new body, this does not happen without ignorance at all. Whereas when Jivan Mukta or Janma Siddha Mahapurush take on a new body, this happens in full awareness for the well-being of the entire humanity with their own will by the order of the Supreme Power.
By the order of the Supreme Power. Please elaborate a little on this.
By the order of the Supreme Power means that the collective consciousness that is there, when this oceanic consciousness gets transformed into a color, form and a shape, such beings are who we call the Siddha Devata, like Mata Tripura Sundari or Mata Kali is there, Mata Durga is there. These gods or goddesses we call Siddha Devatas. And due to the differences in the cultures and traditions, they are considered to be the ultimate fundamentals of the supreme power, and by their orders only the great men are born. And the reason for their being born is a will, a purpose, or the completion of a task. And once the task is done, they are also gone. And while they are here, they do not get stuck in the cycle of karma and remain completely out of it. For example, Baba Nityanand, Bhagwan Nityanand, was one such great divine entity that we know. Anandamayi Ma was also such a divine soul that we know of.
Kaka ji, just now you mentioned collective consciousness. Are collective consciousness and individual consciousness two different terms?
Well, the thing is that collective and individual is a relative term. Consciousness is one. The point of view of expression makes it collective or individual. This is like a bungalow that is there in the sky. Within it also there is a sky. The outer and the inner sky are not two different entities. To make it clear that both are one and the same thing, you need not break down the house. Both are same. Your body is inside the sky, and there is also a sky inside your body. Your body has a consciousness, and your consciousness also has a body.
Can pure consciousness be experienced through scientific ways?
For this, you need to understand its tradition. The Indian tradition or the ancient tradition is based on consciousness. Their meditative and philosophic processes start from consciousness and transform into global and universal consciousness. The Western philosophy, the Western tradition have their beginnings only in the lifeless, or as we call it, the matter. And they end also in the lifeless only. The medium through which the research begins, the medium itself becomes the goal of the research. So in the Indian tradition we have the Upanishad, the Aranyak, the Brahma Sutra. They all begin with the consciousness. This is known as Atma Tattva. This is known as supreme power and the ultimate consciousness. All this is the luxury of this ultimate consciousness. And in this luxury only we have the creation, we have the nurturing, and we also have the destruction, which is followed by the merging. Creation, nurturing, and destruction, all these three are relative terms in context of the infinite and divine ultimate consciousness. When a situation is getting created, the creation beholds the situation which beholds the merging. All this is an ongoing process. The moment a child is born, the process of his dying has already begun that very moment. We all usually celebrate our birthdays. To put it simply, any number that comes after the digit 0, as we call it, Those many years we have already spent. Those many years have been reduced. So our journey, slowly, is approaching towards the Run Shunya. I would like to tell you that our journey begins from Dhan Shunyata, and then finally it culminates in what we call Run Shunyata. This journey is also a relative thing. You are considering life as the present, so it also had a past, meaning you had a past life as well. If you are considering life as the present, then the next life will also be your future. And if you have experienced consciousness as pure consciousness, then you will always remain in the very present moment. The very present moment has no past and no future. That's why all the great learned Mahatmas and the saints always live in the very present moment. And so they do not feel any conflicts like goals, options, ifs and buts. There is no problem and there is no query. For the one living in the very present moment, there is no problem and no query.
Please explain this. What is the meaning of being there in the very present moment?
Being there in the very present moment means to be in your real nature and to be in yourself. When you are living in the very present moment, then you do not have any past nor any future. You are taking your decisions that very moment and not by the clock.
Then why do we face this conflict within ourselves that the decisions we are taking are right or wrong?
This is your very own perception. These are your own comparative concepts that the decision made by you is right. Only the situation will reveal that your decision was right or not.
For most of the time, we feel an anxiety thinking about the result.
The one who lives in the very present moment has no consequences, so his decision is connected with the very present moment.
Does that mean if we take any decision in the ever-present moment, it will have no consequences?
All the great Mahatmas and the saints live in the very present moment. When you ask them something, for them that is the very present moment, and their answer is according to that very moment. If you go to them with the same problem after 10 days, their answer and their response will be different. It will not be the same as it was earlier. Because as per their vision, they are giving you the solution in the very present moment. In your vision, you may feel it was different than the solution that was given to you 10 days back, but then it was according to the very present moment at that point of time. The situation has changed a lot. They live in the very present moment, you in just the present. If the questioner is in the very present moment, there is no question. If the questioner is in the present, then he may feel that the answerer is giving the answer in some relative kind of context, but it is not so. His answer is the same, given in the very present moment. And when he lives in the very present moment, his answer remains the same. It does not change at all, but in your vision, the present has changed. So the answer has also changed.
Please explain a little more. What is the difference between present and the ever-present?
Take for an instance, you go to some Mahatma and you seek his advice for doing something. If he gets the answer in his very present moment, he'll say, yeah, do it. When he says go ahead and do it, you do not have the necessary arrangements at that point of time. and you may take about 10 to 15 days to make those arrangements. And coincidentally, you happen to meet him once again, and you ask him, Maharaj, that work was not done at that point of time, so should I do it now? Because now you have been able to create the arrangements. He says, no, not now, the time is not right. Because when he said, go do it, his answer came from the very present moment. At that point of time, you were in your present. Now, it is no longer your present. The problem has moved back into the past. You are seeking the answer in the future. You can never make a reconciliation. Our scriptures, our sages, saints tell us how to live in the very present moment. Tell us how to connect to the pure consciousness. Anything except you is lifeless. All that you can see around is all lifeless, although they know that it is conscious. But till the time you feel and experience your pure consciousness, everything around you will remain lifeless. In the temples we have the idols of the deities. Those idols are not alive, they are lifeless. But through the process of Pran Pratishtha, the devotees awaken the subtle consciousness dormant there. And finally the idol awakens, it blesses you, fulfills all your wishes and desires. It gives you what you have always asked for before it. People go to Vaishno Devi. Some go to Tirupati Balaji. Many of them go to Shirdi Sai Baba in Shirdi. The experience that they feel there, it is the experience of pure consciousness. That pure consciousness leads you on your way. And with the blessings of that pure consciousness only, your life prospers, you are successful. That is why in India, temples are glorified, samadhis are glorified, mazars are glorified. In those samadhis and in those mazars, the great saints that are present, they are pure consciousness. And in that very form, even today, they lead the way for the others according to their devotion, prayers and faith, and in that same proportion.
Please explain this again. In the present, as well as in the ever-present, the decision maker is the same. Who takes the decisions?
Pure consciousness remains in the very present. And that only is the decision maker.
Then who decides in the present?
In the present, your intellect decides, which is connected to your values. The decision coming from pure consciousness bounded by values is called intellect. So the decision maker in the present is intellect. That pure consciousness is bounded by values, that is why it is called intellect. When it is no longer bounded by the values, there is only pure consciousness. Then for that there is no present, that is always in the very present moment.
That means pure consciousness only is working as ego, mind, intellect and consciousness.
Absolutely, absolutely. One person only is someone's father, someone's son, someone's brother, someone's husband, someone's friend, and also the chairman of some company. The person is only one. But in different contexts, the relations and the responsibilities are changing.
Will we ever be able to experience that consciousness which you call pure consciousness?
Whenever an amazing incident happens in your life, you can be very sure that a revolution has taken place in your life and you have somehow accidentally come across that experience. For that, it is not necessary to sit in a cross-legged posture or meditate, because every single person is a form of that pure consciousness. That is why when you go to certain places, sometimes you achieve that absolutely thoughtless state due to the beauty of the nature or due to some strange or special experience that you come across. You are one to that pure consciousness. You attain a totally thoughtless state, and in that state you experience the ultimate bliss, and that ultimate bliss is sufficient for your entire lifetime. That experience becomes the experience of samadhi for you. And when that experience gets stabilized inside you, you start proceeding towards liberation.
The one which you are referring to as amazing experience, this will also be a relative experience to most of us?
You will see that there have been lots of incidents in your life for which there has been no reason. Those incidents just happened, and the bliss that you experienced at those times, you have never experienced anything like that in your life.
The bliss of this amazing experience that we feel, why does it not last forever?
You experience that ultimate and pure bliss for as long as you are in that state of mind. And as soon as you come out of that state of mind, then your ego suddenly claims that I was the one who experienced that bliss. But the reality is that while you were experiencing that bliss, your ego was not there at that point of time. The moment you come out of that experience, the experiencer suddenly comes up and says, I was the one who experienced. During the experience, he is not there. He comes into the picture only after the experience.